Okay, today I want to talk to you a little bit about flexible ability grouping and the impact it has in the classroom. So, it has been observed that many students struggle and do not have firm understanding of how to attack problems in mathematics. A lack of student engagement during whole group instruction leads to negative attitudes and lower achievement in mathematics. Additionally, mathematics in the past typically focused on teaching students how to solve problems using one method and lack differentiation. So how can we change that? Well, we're going to try doing a flexible ability grouping. Flexible ability grouping gives more individualized instruction for students. It differentiates instruction, especially for those kiddos that are performing above grade level. It increases in student engagement and improves student achievement. So the purpose of this study was to determine if flexible ability grouping has an impact on student achievement and student attitudes towards mathematics. As a PLC group, we're going to examine the impact of flexible ability grouping, flexible ability small groups have on student achievement and engagement during math workshop compared to the students receiving instruction in a whole group setting. So my research questions are, how does the implementation of flexible ability grouping impact student achievement in third grade math? And how does the implementation of ability grouping impact student attitude in third grade mathematics? So for my literature review, I looked at a lot of sources that talked about student achievement and the impact that math has, especially early in education. Mathematics in early education can either lay a foundation for success or struggle for the remainder of formal education. Research states that different socioeconomic backgrounds and ethnicities has a significant impact on students' levels of academic readiness and mathematical achievement. In an effort to meet students' different ability levels, many strategies have been developed. And you can see that my sources are posted within those. Additionally, utilizing manipulatives in the classroom has allowed teachers to lay foundation for future student achievement, as manipulatives have been shown to increase rates of student retention as well as encouraging a more positive attitude toward mathematics in education. Ability grouping provides educators the opportunity to pinpoint areas of concern for groups of students and explicitly plan instruction to address and establish interventions to increase student achievement. Specifically, many researchers have found great value in explicit instruction for students who are at risk and have been identified with a mathematics disability. When done with precision, well-planned explicit instruction can be an effective approach for helping students find success in the long term. Ability grouping has been a major source of debate in schools across the country. Many in opposition of ability grouping claim that it does not produce academic gains for gifted students and impedes the learning of typical students. While Matthews claimed the ability grouping does not produce gains for gifted students, what remains to be seen is how exactly the use of ability grouping, specifically flexible ability grouping, can be directly linked to mathematical achievement for students. Further research could compare the achievement of students taught in classrooms with standard whole group instruction to the achievement of students taught in classrooms with flexible ability grouping. Overall, research will be needed to determine if the use of flexible ability grouping has an impact on achievement. So, my methodology to collect student achievement data, it's going to be collected through various formative assessments given after instruction was received in a flexible small group. And this data addresses the research question 1. Collection of student attitude data will be tested through observations by the researcher as well as student interviews given to the participants of the study, and this addresses research question 2. The analysis of data from the research was compared to the control group to determine the effectiveness of ability grouping. So the process went as follows. Students were given a pre-assessment to determine their level of understanding for multiplication and division strategies. Students were grouped based on performance to receive explicit instruction based on their performance. So the low-level performing group got explicit instruction and practice with appropriate concrete manipulatives in small groups. The mid-level performing group received explicit instruction and practice in using appropriate models and drawings to discuss both multiplication and division strategies in small groups. And the high-level performing group got explicit instruction of more abstract strategies, such as equations when solving, to discuss multiplication and division strategies. they were pushed toward complex problems and discussions in small groups. The third step of this whole process, the formative assessment data was collected throughout the whole project, and student attitudes observations were noted during each session. After the strategy was implemented, a summative assessment was given to determine achievement. A student attitude survey of open-ended opinion questions were administered. Results of the same assessment and observations were compared to that of the control group, who was only receiving instruction in the whole group setting. So the findings, if we look at student achievement, in the classrooms that the flexible ability grouping was implemented, 73% of students met the achievement in the benchmark with 80%. In the classrooms that were not using flexible ability grouping, they were doing whole group instruction, 43% of students met achievement, which was the benchmark of 80% accuracy. Additionally, after the survey, in the classrooms that it was implemented in, you can see that the students, the students that were participating in flexible ability grouping rated much higher on the scale their attitudes. So they enjoyed math time. The majority of them rated that a 4. My teacher knows when I need extra help understanding. The overall average score was a 5. I understand how to use different strategies to help me solve problems. Again, a 5, and I feel more confident in math than I did before. They rated that a 4. Compared to the classrooms that were not implementing flexible ability grouping, they rated it much less on each area. So this begs the question, how does the implementation of flexible ability grouping impact student achievement in 3rd grade math? Well, based on the results of the action research, I could determine that students that participated in flexible ability grouping were more successful than students receiving whole group instruction. 73% of students receiving flexible ability group instruction performed at mastery, while 43% of students receiving whole group instruction performed at mastery. So how does the implementation of flexible ability grouping impact student attitude in 3rd grade math? Based on the results of the survey and student observations, students that participate in flexible ability grouping generally had a more positive attitude towards math. Student engagement increased, and there were less off-task behaviors. The results for each question supported the literature in this action research study, implicating that flexible ability grouping can support student achievement and engagement. So what's next? What are our follow-up actions? As a 3rd grade team, we're all going to implement flexible ability grouping through guided math instruction. We also are going to repeat the study to ensure that the results support each research question. We're going to hold vertical PLCs to discuss the strategy and share results from findings with other grade level teams. Continue to monitor success with the strategy with the use of formative assessments to ensure effectiveness, and provide other colleagues with professional development opportunities to increase their knowledge of flexible ability grouping so they can effectively implement within their classrooms. Conclusion. This action research has challenged me to increase my instruction to enhance learning for students. Our PLC has a focus on differentiation through flexible ability grouping to meet the needs of all learners. It provided conversations with other grade levels to gain ideas and strategies to increase learning in small groups. We got greater support for teachers to provide high quality and focused interventions. And I've been given an opportunity to present a flexible ability grouping professional development at the beginning of the school year. These are my references.